here's your wrestling news for October 29th, 2022. And we're kicking off today with Smackdown as fans got their first real glimpse of Uncle Howdy this week. During last night's show, Bray Wyatt appeared during the closing moments of the show to speak about the terrible things he's done, but was interrupted by Uncle Howdy before he could continue. The bizarre character, donned in a mask and hat, said that Wyatt had been lying when he says he doesn't wear a mask, and that Bray had sent him, presumably the Fiend, away. Blasting Wyatt as a shell of what you once were, Uncle Howdy told Bray to revel in what you are, in a strange way for SmackDown to go off the air. WWE filed a trademark for the Uncle Howdy term earlier this month, alongside the phrase Uncle Harper, which is presumably a nod to the late Brody Lee, but hasn't been used yet. Given that the person is wearing a mask, it could be Wyatt in a dual persona, but there is speculation that Uncle Howdy may be played by his real-life brother, Bo Dallas, who is rumored to be returning to WWE. Since Wyatt's return, it had been rumored that there would be a darker character introduced, and now fans have caught their first glimpse of what Uncle Howdy is all about. Uncle Howdy certainly made his presence felt on the show, but WWE once again dropped a QR code for fans to decipher. When scanned, this code led to a picture of Wyatt with the word liar scrawled across the image, as well as two red X's over his eyes. The use of QR codes has been well received by fans who have enjoyed trying to solve cryptic messages, and it's been reported that WWE intends to use more outside-the-box ideas for promoting other stars if the situation is right. Uncle Howdy's debut was something fans have been waiting for ever since Wyatt's return at Extreme Rules, but did it live up to your expectations? Let us know in the comments. More from SmackDown now, as Legado del Fantasma were only recently called up, but their showing last night was a serious misstep. Facing off against Hit Row and their mystery partner, the fourth person turned out to be Shinsuke Nakamura, and the match was extremely one-sided. Zelina Vega's crew got very little offense in, and despite having the edge over Hit Row in recent weeks, were easily dispatched of this time. It's interesting that WWE would build this group up to be so effective in its first couple of weeks, and then make them look so ineffective during this episode, so we'll have to see how the group can recover going forward. SmackDown also saw an appearance from Roman Reigns, and the tensions between Jey Uso and the Bloodline continued to boil over on last night's show. During SmackDown, Sami Zayn and Solo Sikoa teamed up to face Ridge Holland and Butch, but a lack of communication resulted in the Bloodline taking the loss. Jey was quick to blame Sami for the loss, and when Zayn reminded Uso that the Tribal Chief wants them to settle their differences, Jey fired back saying, "I don't give a damn what the Tribal Chief says." Reigns' expression changed as soon as Jey uttered those words, and there were plenty of "you fucked up" chants from the crowd, while Zayn claimed that Jey wasn't feeling too oozy. The Tribal Chief even warned Jey that if his behavior continues, then he will make Zayn a permanent member of the faction, and teased that it'll be Jimmy and Sami Uso going forward. It was an excellent segment that has only exasperated the issues between Jey, Sami, and the rest of the Bloodline, and with the Usos set to defend the tag titles against the Brawling Brutes at Crown Jewel, these issues could cost the Bloodline in a major way. Since 2010, WWE has hosted their annual Money in the Bank Premium Live event, which is one of the most exciting nights on the wrestling calendar. After all, fans are guaranteed to see two exciting ladder matches, as well as the possibility of a new champion being crowned, but things could be changing very soon. WrestleVotes reports that WWE are considering a major change to the Money in the Bank ladder match formula, and that there are talks about canceling the show. Instead of having their own event, the two Money in the Bank ladder matches would be moved to WrestleMania, with the women's ladder match on one night and the men's on the other. When the ladder match began back in 2005, it took place on the WrestleMania card, and Edge, RVD, Mr. Kennedy, CM Punk, and Jake Hager all won at Mania before Money in the Bank got its own show. There's previously been talks that under Triple H, WWE will be scrapping stipulation events, with the annual Hell in a Cell show considered completely dead, and now the Money in the Bank event may soon be a thing of the past. More from SmackDown now, as this week's show also saw the return of Tennille Dashwood 5 years after her release from WWE. The Australian superstar returned under her old WWE name, Emma, and made a surprise return to answer Ronda Rousey's open challenge for the SmackDown Women's Championship. While Emma did not become the SmackDown Women's Champion last night, she did recently have a successful run in Impact Wrestling, culminating in becoming one half of the Knockouts World Tag Team Champions. As to what she'll do next in WWE, that remains to be seen, but after 5 years away, Emma is back with the company. Emma's return was a surprise to see, and just the latest former name to be brought back in this new era, and now another former superstar is teasing her return. On Twitter, Summer Rae shared a tweet of footage from her WWE career, saying that she would love to get the chance to wrestle Natalya again one day. Many saw this as Rae teasing a return, and in a separate tweet, Summer sent a good morning to Ronda Rousey and made sure her greeting was only for the reigning SmackDown Women's Champion. Summer Rae signed with WWE in 2011 and was called up to the main roster in 2013 before her release 4 years later. When asked, sources with WWE said that Summer Rae was well liked during her initial run with WWE and that she's maintained a good relationship with the company since her exit in 2017. As her performance in this year's Royal Rumble showed, Summer Rae has still got a lot of athletic ability in the ring, and we can't rule out her getting a phone call from Triple H very soon. Over to AEW, as yesterday we reported on CM Punk, whose days with the company are seemingly about to end. With AEW's investigation into the all-out fight over, it doesn't look like Punk will be returning to TV, but things would still be incredibly difficult even if he did. In the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter, Dave Meltzer reports that most of the key top names in AEW believe he is done, and have said they will not work with Punk if he returns. We don't know all the names, but what we do know is Chris Jericho, who told Punk he was a cancer and a detriment to AEW after his comments on the All Out Media Scrum. Punk's arrival in AEW was seen as arguably the biggest moment for the company last year, but it took just a year for Punk to be so toxic, AEW now want to buy out the remainder of his contract. As we've mentioned, every sign points to Punk's time with AEW ending very soon, but even if he somehow gets to return, matches against the likes of Jericho, the Young Bucks, and Kenny Omega, and more will be off the table. And we're ending today with more Punk news, and if he's as finished with AEW as many believe, then WWE will likely be the only place he can go if he still wants to wrestle. It's been reported that Triple H is open to bringing Punk back, as it'll certainly drum up interest in the company, but that doesn't mean the two sides are talking. The Observer reports that WWE has not reached out to Punk at this time about coming in, even if there is interest in him. As far as we know, Punk is still under contract with AEW, so WWE can't contact him about a deal, or they'd be under violation of contract tampering. Any Punk return to WWE plans hinge on the idea that Punk would be willing to come back, but even if WWE wants him, they're not going to rush into things with the former world champion. Well guys, that's our news for today. Please share your comments below. Also hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive all notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.